Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jacob Ferguson, and as you can see behind me, I have gone to an ethereal plane, apparently. Um, let's talk about season 16, episode 14, shall we? Which was a real semi-nothing episode. I'm sorry. I liked the episode, don't get me wrong, I did. It was just sort of just there. Also, I'm going to be eating some pineapple while I talk today. And now the illusion is ruined behind me. It is my apartment, but the sun apparently was coming in too hard. So, let's talk about the episode. Morphine Love Dion is gone to begin with. I cannot put her in my tags anymore. She is gone. And the top four are celebrating Plain Jane's win and Saphira's survival of the bottom two. Though I didn't really have a doubt that she was not going to win the bottom two. You know. But Q is mad because she thought that her win, that should have been her win. And spoiler alert, she didn't win. So, I think that I saw something online. Q has disputed every single win that she has not won. In the first couple of weeks, you could kind of understand it. But when she talked, we'll get into it. We'll get into how I think the top four actually have done when the judges do. So today's mini challenge, it is lip syncing underwater, and the only thing that I could think of, and that's why I made it. My brother and I have. I'm actually gonna save that for them. My brother and I have mood for today, which is basically just I send him a random video or funny picture or like movie that is just like that's our mood for today. It reminded me of the All Dogs Go to Heaven when the big alligator is singing "Let's make music together," and then they go underwater and the quality's not as good. That's what that kind of reminded me of. I know it's a niche reference, but Don Bluth is always a good reference. Let's talk about Troll in Central Park, but enough about Q. So the winner of the thing is Saphira, and it's obvious that Nymphia didn't know the words to Kitty Girl, probably because she learned it probably as Banana Girl, considering. And RuPaul goes, I know we did the book branding thing, but it is time for you to actually dig deep. Whereas I would have loved to see a remix, where they do a top four song, and then the bottom two placements probably would have been the same with Saphira winning. Instead, we get a book branding challenge. Basically, they have to do a photo shoot, write a book, apparently, considering that Matt Rogers, who interviewed them, was like, in this chapter you talked, I was like, you wrote chapter books? You actually wrote the books. It's not fake. Like, we're going to be able to get these at DragCon. Like, I've tried to write books before. That's hard. We're not it's difficult, and you're asking them to do it. And they had to do that, write books, go on a podcast, and get ready for the runway. And honestly, nothing of note really happens this episode. It's a lot of personal stories that are kind of like really good, and a lot of good vibes. The whole mirror scenes, this episode were just I had a big smile on my face, and as did my brother. I'd look over at Bennett and he'd be like, "What what is going on?" Like when they were joking and having fun, it was a good time. Um, you sort of wish that it never ends with them. You can tell how much they like each other. And what started out as like really harsh reads by Q has now turned into playful banter between her and Plain Jane. During the photo shoot, Plain and Q both kind of flopping. First and foremost, let's talk about Plain. The hair was not really a problem for me in theory until they got to the actual book cover, and then it was like, well, um, that is important. Okay, she's still laying there. I was like, you can't really, you can't really see her, but my cat is. There she is. Um, her hair really didn't bother me until the book cover when we realized it was flat. But what did bother me with Plain is the uh, podcast. Instead of really talking about her book and talking about like her life story, she proceeded to read all of the girls, which would have been funny if that's not what she just spent the entire season doing. If I still don't know if I know who Plain Jane is. I don't know if she can confidently tell me who she is, or really dig deep into that story, and that doesn't really make a compelling winner for me. She's definitely probably not gonna win. I'm gonna just be completely honest here. And as for Q, I think that her stories were great. I really got to know Q, and I kind of felt bad for picking on her a lot of the time. But that dress loses all shape. We want to see shape. We want to see all that. There's not a lot that you can do in an A-line dress. So the most that she could do was like a, anything goes style, like pose like that. And she had a really long title, which would have worked in theory if it wasn't the last episode. I feel as though if they had done this challenge before the final episode, earlier in the season, it could have made it a better thing and she probably would have played safe. But considering the fact that they really wanted the top four to dig deep, she didn't do that. Nymphia didn't really surprise me. I think she was back on her old shit of, being. I'm not saying it's shit like that. I'm saying old shit of, like, going, I don't know how to do this, and then actually slaying it. So I'm very proud of her, and I think that she had the second best sort of thing. Saphira was the best. She's always been the best. Last week was a flop, absolutely. It was a crunch, which you guys didn't say crunch or crisp. Um, so I'm gonna just go with crunch or crust. So I'm gonna go with crunch still. Um, I really enjoy Saphira a lot, and it feels as though she is like RuPaul's best friend. And I love that. And I think that we haven't seen that dynamic before with a queen. We started to see it with Silky on season 11, but as it went on and Silky kind of didn't do that great, Ru kind of shifted his focus. But Saphira's been doing consistently well. Let's talk about kind of where they are. Let's start with Nymphia, since she was the first one. Ending with Saphira, of course. Nymphia's track record has kind of been all over the place. In the beginning, I think that she was the strongest. I loved her. I think that she really did great in those first couple of challenges. The ball challenge, we started to really get to know Nymphia a lot of that, and there was still so many people who were like, absolutely, we love her. As the season progressed, and I was Team Nymphia. I was fully Team Nymphia when the promo dropped, all of that. I was like, she gonna win. As it progressed, however, and the pieces started to fall into place, I realized Nymphia is good on the runway, but during some of the challenges, she isn't doing that great, especially around 9 to 7, to top 7. She really started to like falter downhill for me. And I started getting more critical of her because I'm like, you're supposed to be, you were the chosen one, Anakin, you know? Like, don't tell me the story, the tragedy of Darth Pelagius. Do the wise, do something, you know? Nymphia has picked it up. She has picked up the ball and she is going. And it is great to see. I think these last two challenges have really benefited her. I think from the top 7 challenge where they did the DragCon panels to now, she has really done the roller coaster thing again. She has gone up in the first half, went all the way down to the bottom 3, and then has clicked her way back up with a little plateaus up until now, and I'm very happy with that. She's never landed in the bottom, though I do think that Snatch Game she should have. A runway should not save you from a bad Snatch Game, because it didn't with Season 14. And I know I rag on Season 14 a whole lot, and I can't keep it out of my mouth and stuff like that, but Season 14 Snatch Game kind of felt like, they were just leading into this, and it wasn't into their newfangled Lollapalooza idea, and they weren't gonna hear anything from anybody else. So, now, I do think that Nymphia should have been in the bottom for Snatch Game. I'm sorry, I do. I think it would have made a good storyline for her, and it would have put her kind of on the same level, because now everybody's like, well, she hasn't been in the bottom, and sometimes when you're not in the bottom, you don't win. So, we shall see. Let's talk about Plain Jane. I started out this season absolutely hating Plain Jane because of her attitude in the workroom and all of that. And that started to go away over time. I started to not dislike her as much as everybody else did. But it was a journey, and I didn't really feel as though I knew who Plain Jane was. Still don't, but I didn't start liking Plain Jane until Snatch Game. More like Sound of Rusic, but still, like, she was not doing that great for me in the competition. I sort of knew that they were probably going to push her to the top 3, and I was mad about that. I was like, also, this was the top 4 that I imagined. Dawn could have been up there, but it honestly was this top 4. Plain Jane definitely is a powerhouse. I just don't know if she's going to win because of her storyline reasons. Let's talk about Q. So, barring everything that happens this episode, Q's top 4 trajectory has been the most iffy. Mostly because the 2 challenges that she won, at least one of them should have gone to somebody else, and the other one was her crowning achievement. But here's the problem with this. When Q first started, when we started with Q, she was great. The puppet thing to the ball challenge where she had that great Judy Garland look, and she always made her own stuff and all of that sort of stuff. During the Untucked of, and this is probably going to be the thumbnail because of course it always is. During the Untucked of the Girl Groups episode, Q told Tsunami that she could not be mad at her for saying her name on the stage of Who Should Go Home Tonight and Why. And that to me was extremely ironic and funny because Q had just spent that episode crying because she was in the top. So already we kind of saw this crack form. And so they rectified it by giving her a win then the very next episode. But it was like, what? You know, like, as the season has progressed, I think they wanted us to like Q. But not only offline has she not really, off the show has she been kind of mean online. And don't get me wrong, that whole entire, like, spree that she went on just opened a big can of worms for her and caused a lot of issues. But also, the fans needed to, and that's another thing that I will touch on later in the video, the fans need to stop with this. As Q has gone on, I can kind of see, like, the imperfections. I think that all of her runway outfits are good. I mean, she makes them herself, especially her crowning achievement, which I think was the red ribbon look for AIDS awareness. And when she came out as HIV positive, I feel for her, you know? I think that that's it's not a great thing, obviously, but, like, it's a good thing that she is embracing her truth. Um, I just don't think that she was top winner material. I think that there was a lot of insecurities that she possessed that we couldn't really get out of her this season. Let's talk about Saphira. Bar none, Saphira has had the best showing this entire season. The only time that she was in the bottom was warranted, and even she thought that. And honestly, I really do think that Saphira is gonna win. I do. Let's talk about these runways real fast. So, first up is Nymphia Wind. She did a Marie Antoinette inspired look, which Michelle pointed out that she didn't want to see more Marie Antoinettes on the stage. And I get that, but unafraid to reference or not reference, you know, if you want to reference Marie Antoinette, then do so. The only thing that I don't like was the comedic element. I think that there's so much, like, comedy in what Nymphia does. I kind of wanted her to be serious about this, you know? Like the fanning of the you don't need to do that, you know? Just show up in a Marie Antoinette outfit and serve it. Plain Jane looked expensive. She looked really good. I really enjoyed her look. It was beige and she had a giant fan, and it was really well done. All four of these are getting creams, actually. Q's was like a Shirley Temple-esque inspired outfit. It was like peachy orange with this crazy hair. Her wigs have been crazy these past couple of days. These past couple of weeks. I don't really enjoy that, but her hair looked great here. She looked younger than she usually does, which is awesome. So it's a cream. And finally, Saphira, my brother looked when the reveal happened, and he goes, "Oh, it's a Dilophosaurus." And I was like, "How dare you?" Saphira Crystal is that girl. She's the cream of the crop, as they say. Actually, her runway wasn't my favorite. It was probably, well, no, it was. She had that big fan and then the two fans on the sides. So the winner of this week's challenge is Nymphia Wind. And I think that is well deserved, considering the fact that they weren't going to send her home. And Saphira is safe. That is great. And the bottom two are Plain Jane and Q. Last week I made a point, and I got a little bit heated that we did a country song instead of like a Tina Turner song. Well, now we have a Tina Turner song. Better be good to me. And honestly, for both of them being white and can't dance, great. Honestly, I enjoyed it. I knew all the words. I was singing along. My brother was just staring blankly at the thing, going, "What is happening?" But I really enjoyed it. I think that it looked. They did a really good job with it. I thought it was going to be a double save there for a minute because he said, "Plain Jane, Shantae, you stay, Q." Thanks for competing. Anyway, bye. And it was like, don't get her hopes up like that. Just go, Q, this ain't your time. Sorry. Like, that was evil and I loved it, but also, girl, that wasn't very nice. So next week is a Lollapalooza, with the final three being immune, and the winner of the Lollapalooza gets $50,000. It is basically either a Maya, Morphine, or Mirage show, and everybody else is just here. Um, Maybe Geneva, but honestly, I don't even think that Geneva will make it further than like round two. But I think they want to crown like Morphine or Maya or Mirage something, especially if Mirage is getting all this fan favoritism. Let's talk about the fans. Let's talk about the fans. Well, before that, let me just say I am Team Safira Cristal for the finale. She is mother. I love her. She's great. UK versus the World Season 2 ended, right? What was going on there with the Marina was robbed fantasy? I honestly don't really watch a lot of the spinoffs, mostly because WoW Presents Plus is just not it for me. Um, but I watched UK versus the World. I mean, I pirated it, but I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Um, you know, watching it, I thought that Tia did the best. I really enjoyed it. By the way, I definitely didn't pirate the thing, but I was like, I get that Marina was a popular contestant, and I get that. It's just like, y'all fans need to stop, especially with the racist stuff. That's not good. That is not good at all. I don't understand why people do that. I don't understand why people um, decide to write the N word in the comments of people's posts, especially on Twitter, where everybody can see what you're posting. Everybody can see, oh, well, this person's actually a secret racist. And privately DMing them, telling them to go off themselves. It's like, really? Really? You're doing this right now? No, don't do that. That's not appropriate. I'm gonna ask the fans to stop. I wanted to make a separate video this week, but I decided against it because I'm white. I don't really. The plight of the people who are getting these racist comments are not my own. I don't have to deal with the fans being racist. But what I do have to deal with is being a Tia supporter and a Sia Marina supporters who would rather bastille Tia than accept her as anything less than a runner-up, or anything more than a runner-up. I have seen countless things of going, Tia would have actually been eliminated here, but bar favoritism. Like, and everybody has Marina at the top, and she has publicly said, don't do this, don't do that. And you guys are still, like, going at it. That's not appropriate. Don't do that. That's not appropriate to do. But you guys do that. And if I see any comments, any hate to Tia or Safira by anybody, I'm gonna be pissed. Especially since this is my YouTube channel. Y'all ain't gonna come here with that. Like, I'm sorry, you're not. That's not what I'm about. I may disagree with some things about the fandom. Do I agree that maybe they should have seen Marina? We should have seen Marina more in the lip sync. Absolutely. But what I'm not gonna do is go, Tea Coffee doesn't deserve it. Mostly because I was a Tea Coffee stan, but also, y'all really be out here doing all of this. And, like, Marina will be fine. She will be fine. Give her bookings, give her love, do all of that. She will be okay. You know who won't be okay? Tea Coffee. Because you guys have publicly denounced her as a winner. So at this point, that is what I want to leave you with, is stop being racist. Stop it. That's not appropriate. And also, who are you guys rooting for? Leave it down in the comments below. I will accept any answer. Plain Jane, Nymphia, Saphira. I just want to see where at least my fan base is at. And I will see you guys next week for the Lollapalooza. I wouldn't usually cover the reunions, but since we have a reason to, I will see you guys next week. Bye.